It's Jess from Meyer Hatchery, and welcome to another episode of Chicken Chat. It is that time of year where we are planning our gardens and we're ordering all those wonderful seeds and we're starting our seeds. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about some different types of plants that you can grow for your flock and maybe have your own flock garden. We have a special guest with us today. I want everybody to welcome Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You may have heard Linda over on the Coop podcast, and she's also a member of our amazing customer service team. I'm so excited to chat with you today. So, before we talk about our gardens, let's talk a little bit about our flock. So, can you tell us a little bit about the flock that you have, Linda?
I have chickens and ducks, and I have guineas, and later on, more turkeys will be coming this year. Um,
Exciting.
and my ducks I love because I get lots of eggs from them. The chickens too, but I love the richness in those duck eggs.
I can totally agree. I've talked a lot about my flock here at our YouTube channel, but I love ducks. I love the ducks that we have, and I could not agree with you more. I love those awesome eggs. And I also have chickens, but I have a little bit more bantams than standard sized
Mhm.
chickens. And I just recently added quail back to my flock, and that has been a really fun adventure having those Coturnix quail back, those little tiny eggs. So cute.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about our garden setups and if we do any sort of flat garden. So for me, in the last couple years, I completely changed my garden. When we first got our farm, I had the big gardens and I kind of overdid it. It was like chicken math only with gardening, I guess garden math. And I learned that big is not always better. So I switched over to raised beds. And I've really enjoyed those the last couple years. And I actually have a raised bed that is just for my flock. And then we have a couple beds that are for us. And I really like that setup. So, what type of garden setup do you have?
It seems to grow every year. The flock has not had their own garden up until this year. Hopefully, if everything goes well, they will. We've always shared with them, and they've kinda get to free range, and sometimes they're in it, and sometimes I can keep them out. But, this year I'm hoping to get a hoop house set up, anchor it with a fence,
Mhm.
and kind of keep them out so that I can give them things when they're ready instead of them taking them when they want.
That's great. That sounds really great. And do your chickens help you with your garden? You said about the chickens getting in the garden. How are the chickens helpful in your garden?
Well, they're definitely helpful for providing manure. They are very good for taking care of the bugs,
Yeah.
so you gotta love them for that. What I don't love them for is, when they go ahead and, eat the little plants if I let them around too soon.
Yeah.
Last year, I was trying to grow sunflowers, and I planted them along their fence line, and with the turkeys at the time, they were able to put their little necks through the fence, and
Very
they
good.
every time they sprouted, they picked out the sunflower sprouts.
Oh goodness.
So,
Yeah. So
I'm
yeah.
I'm learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely something that you want to keep in mind when it comes to your flock in your garden. If you have plants that you don't necessarily want your flock to enjoy, some good temporary fencing, even if it's just for
Mhm.
garden season, is really helpful. I know I've run into the same thing. I One year we had sunflowers as well, and I was blaming the deer. And one day I realized it was my Buff Orpington that had squeezed her way in and was enjoying those every time they came up. So, yep, totally agree on manure. It's such a great resource to have that chicken manure to be able to put in our gardens. I know I let my chickens do a little bit of my work for me in the
Mhm.
fall. I let them do my cleanup, so that's when they can go in and enjoy everything. And I'll let them kind of dig in there. And then in the springtime, I let them, as soon as we get some warm days, I'll let them go kind of turn everything around and
Mhm.
help to get us started. So they're definitely good. They're good helpers in the garden for sure.
I
So
have
your
one
setup,
that I'm getting ready for them to go do cleanup on and dig
nice.
for me.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun to let them in there and just watch them kind of
Mhm.
scratch around. It's really cool, and they can clean up a lot in just a little bit of time, so that's great. So it sounds like we both have some really great setups, a little bit different, but really good setups. So let's talk about specifically what we like to grow in our gardens and even more things that we grow that we can offer our flock. So let's start a little bit about, or let's talk a little bit about herbs.
Mhm.
So what kind of herbs do you like to grow with your garden?
I like anything in the mint family.
Mm.
Um, Basil, I love lemon thyme, regular thyme too, but I love the smell of the lemon thyme. Peppermint, spearmint, oregano, parsley, lavender, sage. If it's in the mint family, I want to grow it.
That's great. That's great. And do you offer these herbs to your flock throughout the growing season?
Mhm.
That's great. That's awesome. I we grow a little bit less herbs, but we our big ones for the flock are mint and lavender and basil. And those are ones that the humans enjoy as well. But I found those three herbs my flock loves, and there's so many uses for it or for
Mhm.
those herbs. So it's really nice to have those in and around the coop in the flock garden.
Mhm.
So uh let's move on a little bit. So we talked a little bit about herbs. What about flowers? Do you grow any flowers in your garden? Flowers for your flock?
Marigolds and sunflowers, but this year I also want to try nasturtiums, and this year I also want to protect the sunflowers.
Yes, so get that little bit of fencing up there to help out. Absolutely. I do the same thing. I grow marigolds and sunflowers. We've tried all different kinds of flowers, and those two are ones that they're easy to grow. And they have so many benefits, not only for us, but for our flock as well. The marigolds are probably my flock's favorite. They love to, when I take the petals off and I put it into the nest box area, and they like to kind of play with those. And same with the sunflowers. Sunflowers are so great once they've been dried, and they make such a really good boredom buster for the flock too. So it's good to
Mhm.
just put that whole sunflower head in there. So very cool. Awesome. Are there any specific vegetables or fruits or anything like that that you grow for your flock in the garden or you're planning on growing?
Squash is the biggest one. Squash, pumpkins, cucumbers, and then some root vegetables or the winter squashes.
Yeah.
I like to do the early squash just to feed them all season because it
Yeah.
just keeps going. And then the winter squash is nice, and root vegetables are nice because you can store those easy and they have something then for the winter. When they don't have things to forage on, it still helps to cut with the feed bills. And it works really nice to have that stuff around and available for them.
Because of all the ducks that we have, we grow a lot of greens. So we pretty much dedicate one of our beds to growing the salad greens. And what we don't enjoy, we give to our ducks, and they
Mhm.
absolutely love it. Totally agree on the squash, especially if you have a squash that matures early, like you said, and produces all throughout the season. It's so nice to
Mhm.
have all of that. Another thing is we have a lot of extra blueberries. So whatever I don't use, I'll give to the flock, and that's my flock's like number one favorite summer treat is those fresh blueberries. So it's nice to have those in the garden as well.
Mhm.
So we shared a lot of things that we can grow for our flock. And if somebody is just starting, what is your best piece of advice that you could give to somebody?
I would say pick something you know your flock already likes. And if you've had past success with it, that's a good place to start, or something that you know is fairly easy, like greens are pretty easy.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. My biggest piece of advice is start small. Don't let chicken math get you, or not chicken math. Let chicken math get you. Don't let garden math get you. And you kind of grow from there. Like you had said in the beginning, every year you kind of add and you kind of grow and you find what you like and what grows well where you live, and all that
Mhm.
kind of good stuff. So, thinking about MeyerHatchery.com, what is your favorite product that we sell that helps with gardening and your flock?
Mine would have to be the chickens because I wouldn't need a chicken garden if I didn't have the chickens.
Yes. Oh, that is perfect. I love that. Exactly. Well, I have to add, not only do you need the chickens, but I do suggest Lisa Steele's Gardening with Chickens. That inspired a lot of my adjustments that I made in my garden when I was
Mhm,
making my flock garden. So that's a great resource to have. So order that along with your chicks
mhm.
and make sure to order soon. We've got lots of really great availability, and our minimum just went to 3. So now is a really, really good time to get your chicks ordered.
Sure is.
Absolutely. Well, Linda, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I had lots of fun talking about gardening, and I cannot wait to see your flock garden in a couple months and see your flock enjoying all the wonderful things that you grow for them.
I can't wait either, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for listening to Chicken Chat. As always, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that bell so you're the first to know every time a new video has been released. Thank you so much for watching.